Hey Scrote Lips, thanks for coming back for another T.M.M. video. If you're wondering what in the world Scrote Lips is, I suggest you watch a relatively new show on Netflix called Murderville. Murderville is a comedy mystery show where we follow a detective named Terry Seattle who brings along other celebrity guest stars to solve crimes. Terry Seattle is also played by the hilarious Will Arnett, and shout out to him, a fellow Canadian. Every single episode is a brand new celebrity, and essentially they come in as a trainee, somebody who is on the path of becoming a detective, and they have to work a case with Will Arnett's character, or Terry Seattle, to essentially see how they can do on the job. And then at the end of it, if they are successful in solving the crime, they get to move on and become a detective, even though we never see their character again. Or if they fail, they end up getting fired. The show is only 6 episodes long, and I am wondering if that is to do with the fact that they simply didn't know how the show would do. Maybe there were COVID restrictions at the time when filming it. Who really knows? At the end of the day, Netflix will pour whatever money they want into any show at all. It's just a matter of if it's going to stick the landing or not. And honestly, all in all, I think this show does just that. So as for the 6 guest stars in the show, the first episode is Conan O'Brien. Episode 2 is Marshawn Lynch. Episode 3 is Kumail Nanjiani. Episode 4 is Annie Murphy. Episode 5 is Sharon Stone. And episode 6 is Ken Jeong. Now, what makes the show so funny is that nothing is scripted. It's pretty much all improvised. I think certain things are scripted, of course, maybe the beginning, a bit of the middle, and the end. Like, certain things have to happen in each episode. I think the things that are specifically scripted are things for background characters, like B and C level characters who have to help build up the story of the episode, whereas Will Arnett and the co-star of the episode are basically completely unscripted. It is all improvised, and that is what makes it so funny, because it's not like if someone says something or they start to laugh, they don't cut the camera and go again. They keep the laughter in it, they keep the screw ups, they keep everything, and it is just so funny. Basically, Terry Seattle is a detective without a partner. His partner got killed 15 years ago, and the really funny thing about it is that all we know about his partner is that it was once upon a time Jennifer Aniston. And I'm really hoping if they do make a season 2, they do something where she's not dead and she does come back for an episode or something. I think that would be hilarious. Terry Seattle is this buffoon of a detective who always seems to get the best murder cases in town and finds ways to solve them. He also had a prior relationship with the chief of his police precinct, who they are now currently getting a divorce, but every single episode she ends up coming into his office and giving him a brand new partner to work with. The whole point of the show is at the beginning they introduce one another and they have a little bit of improvised dialogue. Then, once a crime is assigned to them, they go to the murder scene where they get as many details as they possibly can. And every single episode, there are 3 potential suspects. They have to go to each suspect and interview them to see who the real killer is. And then by the end, the trainee or the celebrity guest has to compile all the information they have, and on the spot, they have to decide which of the 3 suspects is actually the murderer. And like I said, if you're right, that celebrity guest apparently moves on to become an actual detective, and if you don't, if you fail, then you get fired. Now, that's something that I found really interesting because I wasn't sure. I didn't know if that was scripted either, because in the show, only 50% of the celebrity guests get the murder suspect correct. So I didn't know if that was maybe scripted to kind of keep a little bit of flavor into the show. Not everyone is always going to be right. You know, we don't want to sit here and watch the show and see the guest being right about everything every single episode. So I wasn't sure if that was their way of maybe scripting it to be like, hey, everything's improvised, but at the end of the episode, choose the wrong victim. Or if it is literally improvised from beginning to end, where they on the go have to try and figure out who the murder suspect is, which I do believe that is the way they were going. And I think it makes it so much more cooler, so much more funnier, and just so much more fun to watch. Will Arnett's a funny guy, man. I don't know how you do an improv show with him about solving murder cases. If it were me, there are times in each episode that I would be absolutely dying at. I think this show would be so much fun to be on and just so much fun to work on, because it's not often an idea of a completely improvised comedy show ends up working or happening. I mean, I can't really recall an all improvised comedy show. Maybe there's one out there, and if there is, let me know in the comments below what it is. But from what I know, this is one of the few, I'm going to say one of the few because I don't specifically know if it is the only one. This is one of the few that have done it and have done it well. Now, don't get me wrong, there are parts in the show in all 6 episodes where it is a little dry and it isn't at its funniest, but I think you are going to expect things like that when your show is completely improvised. It is hard to be funny 100% of the time when there is no script to go off of. You can't always plan ahead or plan everything. You just got to go with the flow and hope things turn out well. You know, I don't think there's really much symbolism or metaphors or anything arbitrary to the show. I think it is just simply designed to be funny and for you to have a good time. On IMDb, almost 8,000 reviews for the show. It is sitting dead smack at a 7 out of 10. I would say that's fair. I would say it's about a 7, 7.5. You could maybe even convince me it's an 8. I think mainly it is about a 7 out of 10 show though, because when it's good and firing on all cylinders, it's good. It's funny. I'll tell you right now, probably the funniest episodes in the show are the ones with Kumail Nanjiani. Conan O'Brien is pretty good, and I would also say Ken Jeong. I would say, though, there are, in every episode, like I said, a couple of dry spells where the things that they're doing aren't the funniest, or they were hoping for certain things to be funnier than they actually were. But I certainly think that is something that can be worked on in a future season, which I really do hope that this show gets a season 2. And depending on the guests they get, they could get really good celebrity guests to team up with Will Arnett for a whole episode that might be funny from minute 1 to minute 30. So I'm going to be giving my review for the show, and it is going to stay the exact same, a 7 out of 10. I think that is very, very accurate. I'm not going to explain things that happen in episodes because, let's be honest here, explaining funny moments, explaining jokes, it's not funny anymore. It isn't the same if you can just experience it yourself. So I would suggest if you have time to watch 6 episodes, all a half an hour, you like comedy, you like funny moments, you like the idea of an all improvised comedy like this with Will Arnett, who in my opinion is hilarious, you guys will probably find a lot of enjoyment out of this. But that's it for this one, guys. I just wanted to put my 2 cents into this show. I thought it was worth making a video for, and I think it's worth getting people to check the show out and hopefully get a season 2 out of it. If you have seen the show, let me know in the comments below what you thought of it. And if you haven't seen the show, go watch it, come back to the video, and let me know in the comments below what you thought about it. But that is it for this video, guys. And until next time, I will talk to you all very soon.